Perfect. Well, we will go ahead and get started. I wanted to first of all say thank you so much for attending our virtual spring breakfast and what feels like a continuing grand experiment of adapting to the current times. I am Alex Popora. I'm the Executive Director of the Utah Society for Environmental Education, and while it is a bit of a bummer to not be able to see you in person, it does bring me a lot of joy to get to see you online and to also have some friends from across the country joining us today. Before we really get started in earnest, I wanted to just share a few quick tips about Zoom. I know for a lot of us this is old hat, but if it's new for you, I just want to make sure you know how this all works. Just a quick FYI, we will be recording. Everyone should please stay muted for now. We'll have some time at the end to chat. Please type your questions in the chat box, and it's okay to keep your camera off. So how do you actually do all of this? On your screen, which you should see if you're on a computer, if you're on your phone, it's a little bit different. But if you're looking at your screen, there'll be a microphone button on the left-hand side to mute, a video button right next to that, which you can click to turn off and on. A little bit further down this row of icons, there's a chat button. So you can click there to open the chat. You can chat with everybody, or you can chat with people individually. You can virtually clap or give a thumbs up. And then when you type your chat questions, they will appear in the chat box. And that's an important function because we will be using that a little bit later. So of course, we're going to be talking about what is USEE, and we have been working to elevate the field of environmental education in Utah since 1981. Before I talk a little bit more about our programs, I think it's really important that we recognize that we are the state affiliate of the North American Association for Environmental Education. And I'm actually really delighted that we have Sarah Bodor from the North American Association for EE to chat a little bit about what it means to be an NAA affiliate. So I'll toss that over to Sarah.
Great. Thank you so much, Alex. And I just want to congratulate you and the UC board on this excellent turnout. This is a really, I know it's an experiment, but I think this is a really great example of the kind of nimble leadership that UC and Alex, you in particular, are able to demonstrate in these challenging times. So I know that a lot of your colleagues from other states are listening in this morning so that they can learn, and that kind of learning and shared learning across state and regional boundaries is one of the things that makes this affiliate network so powerful. So thank you for demonstrating that for us. So I am with the North American Association for Environmental Education, and just for those who might not be familiar with us, we are the professional association for environmental educators across North America. So we function a lot like UC, but just at a different scale. And like UC, we're working to advance environmental literacy and civic engagement through the power of education. And we work collaboratively with our affiliates to achieve a vision of a just and sustainable world for all people. And as Alex mentioned, UC is one of our 56 state, regional, and provincial affiliates. So we have affiliate organizations across North America. And together, those affiliates form a network who can collaborate and support one another and work together to improve the quality of environmental education, as well as to expand access to EE. And maybe some of you are aware of this, but within that network, Alex is really a trusted leader, and part of your affiliation with UC connects you to this broader network as well. And so Alex really works with her colleagues across the network to bring a lot of best practices from across the field of environmental education back to Utah, but at the same time also represents and shares successes from within the state of Utah back out to her colleagues across North America. And so in this way, professionals are constantly learning from one another. And as I said, you know, there are other leaders on this call this morning who I guarantee are going to steal this virtual breakfast model, and these kinds of convenings will pop up in other places in no time at all, I'm sure of it. I also just want to just take a quick moment to mention that UC has done a lot of work over the last several weeks to really bring a lot of support to environmental education nonprofits and organizations during this really crazy time where programs are shut down, where a lot of folks are having to pivot very quickly to providing online and distance learning opportunities. And I know that UC has hosted a number of calls across the environmental education community to take in information about what your needs might be and to think about how to respond to those needs. And that's another way, I think, in which being part of this bigger network is really powerful, because rather than each individual environmental ed association trying to figure this out on their own, the states and provinces are really working together and learning from one another and sharing their strategies and their tools. And so I just want to really tip my hat to UC and to Alex and to the UC board for that, because we are all struggling and we're all sort of learning day by day and week by week what needs are out there and how we can respond to those needs. And it's really important to have leadership in organizations and in individuals to help support the community during this time. And the last thing I just want to say is that we're really proud to partner with UC and a number of our state affiliates in providing a monthly webinar series. And so I'll just give a quick shout out that we've got one coming up on the 30th this week. Number of our most recent webinars have been focused on how organizations and environmental educators are pivoting. And so this week's webinar is on storytelling and sort of changing your story during this unprecedented time. And so the title of the webinar on the 30th is 7 Guidelines for a Story of Disruption. So I welcome all of you to get on NAAEE.org and register for that webinar if you're interested. And if the date and time don't work for you, then you can register anyway and get a recording after the fact. So thanks, big thanks to UC for being a partner with us in providing those webinars. And thanks again for having me. Alex, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so very much, Sarah. And we can certainly send out the link to that webinar to everyone who is attending today. So if you've registered for this, I know Liana just wrote a comment, we can also send you like the link for that webinar. And yes, we are NAAEE in Utah, and we really work to elevate our field of environmental education. We do this in a number of ways. So of course, our annual conference, which will be in November this year, it may be in person, it may be virtual, but we will see what happens. We also provide awards and recognition for professional environmental educators, businesses, legislators, and even up and coming youth in environmental ed. It's really important that we honor and recognize individuals who are making contributions to our field, and we're the organization that does that. We also deliver a variety of programs for educators, whether those are professional development trainings, calls to help support educators right now, understanding best practices, even doing some more public-facing programs. We really have been trying to work to get out in the community to share the message of the power of environmental education. And finally, we've begun to engage in advocacy efforts around sound environmental education policy. This includes things like supporting the National Environmental Education Act on a national scale and doing things locally, like supporting the Utah Every Kid Outdoors initiative that came out of our governor's Office of Outdoor Recreation. Recently, we've also found ourselves advocating on behalf of small nonprofits on the federal level to ensure that federal funding is provided to organizations like us and to many of you to help us get through everything that's happening right now. But while we do all of these things, we could not do them without our members, sponsors, partners, and supporters. I have truly been blown away by the response of our partner organizations with the content that they have developed over the past few weeks. We started putting together a Utah environmental education resources list, and I have to update it almost every single day because people are creating robust online resources, really engaging video content, standalone events for all sorts of individuals to participate in. And it is really incredible to be in a position where we're not creating any new content, but we get to be the champion for all of the incredible content that all of our members and partners are supporting and creating. So really, from the bottom of my heart, if you are on this list or you need to be on this list, I want to thank you so much for working so hard to support our community. And for those of you who are also helping support our mission, thank you very deeply. But now, of course, it wouldn't be a spring breakfast if we didn't do something a little bit fun. So we're gonna do a little bit of trivia. And all you will have to do is type your answer in the chat box. I have to apologize. There's no prize. However, if you get the answer correct, you will have the glory of having a correct answer. So feel free to type it in the chat. If you feel compelled to unmute yourself and shout it out, you know, that's going to be totally fine too. So we're going to get rolling with our very first question, which is, UC is getting ready for a big birthday. How old will we be in 2021? And maybe board members don't answer. Oh, Axel Estebal got it already. We will be 40 years old in 2021, which is really incredible that our organization has had this longevity. And yes, thank you for paying attention, Axel. This year will also be our 30th annual conference. So many wonderful milestones. And it really is an honor and a privilege to be kind of running this organization that has this longevity. All right, let's do the next one. Which declaration created the framework, principles, and guidelines for environmental education? Yeah, Jen, Visitation, and Bruce, the Tbilisi Declaration. So yes, this was really the founding document for environmental education. I believe the year was 1977. So if you are feeling like you'd like to learn something new today, it's a good one to look up. All right, here's another one. Who are environmental educators? All of us, everyone, and yes, I will vouch too that we are probably the most awesome people in the world. So we tend to say here, at least I do, is that if you talk to another human being at some point in your day, whether that's an adult or a child, about the environment, congratulations, you're an environmental educator. Our audience spans far and wide, from pre-K to 12th grade teachers, folks in higher education, state agencies, individuals who work at the city, small nonprofits, some businesses, really everyone. The way that we communicate about the environment sends a message to other people. So guess what? If you're here, you're probably an environmental educator. All right, I think we just have two more. Oops. Can you name a daily action that anyone can take to protect or connect with their environment? We got recycle, we got go outside, oh, grow your own food, nature journaling, birding, have a garden. Amazing. Yeah, those are all incredible ways to connect. Yeah, watch YouTube. There's, Christy, absolutely. There's a lot of great YouTube videos about nature. Oh, stargaze. We did just get off a dark sky week, so there's some great content out there. Watch the sunset, ride a bike, look at bugs. Oh my gosh, all of these are great. I hope you look at this list and get some inspiration. And yes, Liana, too, supporting some of our local and our eco-friendly businesses. Wear a mask. Awesome. Keep them coming while we head into this next question. And this is our last one. How can you support environmental nonprofits right now without making a financial contribution? Awesome. Thank them. Share their content online, promote on Facebook, interact with social media, volunteer, like and subscribe. Absolutely. We're going to talk about this a little bit later. And this goes not only for UC, but all of our members and partners and supporters, and really just any of the nonprofit organizations that you care deeply about. But like I mentioned in kind of the messaging and promotions around this event, we have a lot of really great news to share. And also give yourselves a round of applause for totally crushing it at trivia. We've had a spate of good news and some exciting things to share with everybody. Last week, it was just announced that we now have 2 green ribbon schools in the state of Utah. And those green ribbon schools are Bonneville Elementary, right here in Salt Lake City, and Wasatch Academy. This is the highest honor that a school can achieve with strides that they're making in sustainability and environmental education. Our Utah Green Schools program is a pathway for schools to achieve this. So both Bonneville and Wasatch were Utah Green Schools. They have grown so much over the past couple of years. Bonneville was actually our first Utah Green School, and have turned that work into this national recognition. And we are so proud of them. And instead of me sharing their accomplishments, we're going to have them share their accomplishments. And I am so glad this morning to be joined by both Dr. Joel Barnes and Elyse Maxwell. Joel's going to go first. He is from Wasatch Academy, and as he unmutes himself, give him a thumbs up or a round of applause emoji, because they did a lot of work to get here. So Joel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alex. And I just want to, again, I want to thank USEE not only for this morning, for helping me to make a more intentional connection with environmental educators all across Utah, and I guess across the nation as well, but also the support that Wasatch Academy has had from USEE over the past 3 years since I came to Wasatch. I mean, as soon as I traveled from Arizona up to Utah, one of my first broad tasks was to get connected. And so I went on the internet, and there I found USEE, and I thought, well, what ways can I help Wasatch Academy become more of a player and get ourselves on the map and really help to promote sustainability at Wasatch? And it was USEE that really stepped up and helped me to network on how to do that. And in addition to some of the more internal projects that we had going over the past 3 years, Alex and I and one of my colleagues, Brooke Allred, we talked about bringing the Utah or the U.S. Department of Education Green Ribbon School program to Utah. And we just started to brainstorm on how, in fact, we could do that. And the precursor with that, of course, was to apply for a Utah Green School Award. And doing that was really the first big step towards consolidating and creating kind of a common narrative in our institution. And not only to present ourselves to the bigger world, but to clarify who we are as Earth citizens, and to help our students and staff and teachers really connect with who we are in terms of sustainability, and in terms of where are we, really where are we in terms of rural central Utah, because we are literally not only a long drive, but we are culturally a far cry from the Salt Lake City culture. And it's really interesting for Wasatch Academy. We have upwards of 40 different countries represented at Wasatch Academy, and we find ourselves embedded in the culture of central rural Utah. It's a bit of an irony, really, to have this global hub in the midst of central Utah. So UC has been a real connector for us. So I just wanted to share for a few minutes the experience and the benefits we found from our application, creating our application for the Utah Green Schools and the U.S. Department of Education Green Ribbon Schools. As I said, it really helped us to kind of synthesize our sustainability efforts and to create and rally around a common narrative to help our students know what we're doing as a community to be mindful, intentional Earth citizens, both as individuals and as a community. And so what I found is that our application to the Utah Green Schools and the U.S. Department of Education Green Ribbon Schools has set the stage for us for future funding. I mean, right now, between the two applications of the Utah Green School and the Green Ribbon School, we have got the basis for writing more grants. And that's one of the reasons that I presented to our administration team, why do Green Ribbon School? Why do why do a Utah Green School? And not only does it make us a better community from an altruistic perspective, and that's the most important reason, but what also turned the heads of our board and our administration team is that it sets us up for funding. I mean, we are actually going to have some of these really neat ideas actually funded, at least a better chance of being funded, thanks to the applications that we pulled together and the preferential access it gives us to certain grants and other types of state level and federal funding. So really, I think in terms of synthesizing our community narrative on who we are as a sustainable community and helping our students and staff and teachers rally around certain projects and this broader narrative of who we are. Because with high school students, and we're 8th grade through 12th grade, they're still kind of trying to figure out who they are as individuals. And at the same time, they're also trying to answer the question, how do I fit into a community? What does it mean to be a mindful, productive, contributing member of a community? And this helps them do that in the context of sustainability, to realize that there's really a lot that a community needs from each individual, especially when you place it in the context of sustainability. And so I think these applications to the Utah Green Schools and Green Ribbon Schools have really helped us rally our students around projects that are meaningful for them. Some of those projects have been native landscaping all across campus, and having our students, as they walk by these plants on campus every day, actually know what those plants are and why they were chosen by our landscaper to put there, and what it means to xeriscape, and the green ripple effect from zero landscaping in terms of energy use, water use, celebrating native biodiversity, which then is that portal into celebrating cultural biodiversity and that kind of thing. And also our recycling program, which is, some of our students, when I came here 3 years ago, we weren't recycling. And so I kind of tried to point out to our administrative team that, if we're even going to take the next baby step towards claiming to be sustainable, we need to recycle. And that was great. It's easy for kids to rally around recycling, which is great. But then they realize that recycling is actually a symptom of a much bigger issue, and that is reducing your waste. And so just this year, at the end of this year, we've started to grow from recycling to actually reducing, helping students reduce their waste production in the first place. So it's kind of a neat progression, and it helps us kind of establish, I guess, a scope and sequence for our community, right? We can come up with a long laundry list of projects that will contribute to us being a more sustainable community. But the order in which we do those projects and the way in which we do those projects is really student-driven and student-centered. And so although they picked recycling first, right off the bat. And now they're looking at reducing their waste, which is just great to see them realizing that you can recycle forever. And unless you start to reduce your waste, then you're not really solving the problem. So I think our application to Green Ribbon Schools and Utah Green Schools have really helped us, again, to identify and prioritize different sustainability projects and hopefully get them funded in the future. So in general, it's helping us with capacity building in the context of sustainability. And it's been great. I think working with Alex on the Utah Green School and the Green Ribbon School applications is, you get this award and you think, oh, great. You check off that box and you're done. When really we've just scratched the surface, and we have years of projects now ahead of us that are partly planned and prioritized, and it's really set us up for capacity building.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing, Joel. And I really love that message about creating a narrative kind of across your school. It's really, I'm just so impressed by the work that you all are doing on your campus. And I'm also really glad to introduce Elyse Maxwell from Bonneville Elementary here in Salt Lake City School District. She was part of the effort to become one of our first Utah Green Schools, and is going to share a little bit more about the work that they're doing at their school. So Elyse, go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I first want to just say that this was not just me. I keep getting emails like this was just my efforts, and it really wasn't. The Utah Green School was actually done by a different teacher at my school, Cindy Niter, previously Cindy Norton. And so she really had a passion for bringing sustainability and environmental education into Bonneville. She retired a few years ago, and I kind of took over after that. And so she really started things rolling, and I think that was wonderful. We're also really lucky to be in Salt Lake City School District. We have a sustainability director, Greg Levecki, who has taken care of a lot of things on kind of a district level that did allow us to apply for this. And so he's done things like looking at HVAC systems or cleaning supplies or working with our custodial staff in order to try to make the whole district more sustainable. And having that level of support has been really great for us, and meant that as a teacher, I didn't have to do quite as much. We also have a really wonderful PTA, and we can start with this campaign that you can see on your screen. We had a parent actually start an idle-free committee, like a clean air committee at our school, where they have been doing indoor and outdoor air quality testing, and really working with parents and families in the whole community, including the students, to understand the impact it can have when cars are idling or smoking outside the building or different things like that. And so we had students completing pledges with their families to remind them to turn off their cars when they were waiting. And then every day we would have a shout out that a family could put in or a student could put in about the efforts that they were making to have cleaner air in our community. And we can go to the next one. We also have a recycling chair on the PTA. That's Shirley Morris sitting there. She's been wonderful. We have been pretty good about paper recycling at our school, but mixed recycling has been a bit of a challenge. Elementary school students don't love making sure that their materials are clean before they throw them out. And so we've been working really hard to kind of teach kids the difference between, what is going to go to the landfill, what needs to be recycled, how can you determine that, and how can you sort things. And so a few days a week, we have a parent volunteer in the cafeteria helping students know how to sort their materials, which again is really great, and we're really lucky to have her there. One of our bigger campaigns that we do every year that we've been doing for about 4 years was Greg put us in contact with Green Fiber. Green Fiber works with most of the schools in the Valley to collect cardboard and paper recycling. And so every year we've been doing a collection promotion where families and students can bring in any of the cardboard or paper recycling they have, and we collect it typically in the auditorium so that students can really start to visualize how much they are throwing out every day. And so then we have them help us load it into the dumpster, and we dump the dumpster into that truck multiple times so they can see really just how much they're contributing and how much they are diverting from the landfill. So this year we actually recycled about 3,200 pounds of paper in 1 week. What's been really great about that initiative is that the community started to realize that they can bring cardboard recycling to us as well, because our curbside is pretty iffy on that. And so those are just a few of the campaigns we've been working on. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Elyse. And also thank you, Joel. You are both an inspiration, and I am really excited to see kind of what we can do in this next year. And if you can, give Joel and Elyse a hand clap emoji, because their efforts are really wonderful. And yeah, it is a team effort. So thank you so much. And I think these two stories share that, you know, we have a lot to celebrate. There is a lot that happens at schools, at our organization sites, that there's a lot going on. And oftentimes we don't take a lot of time to step back and celebrate our successes or the things that we feel proud of or have a lot of gratitude for. And today on all of our social media channels, we're sharing some of the things that we are really grateful for. And all of you are certainly part of that list. So we have a lot of gratitude for our robust and vibrant environmental education community. I always say you are EE in Utah, and we would not be here if you all didn't exist. So we have so much gratitude for each and every one of you. We also have gratitude for our board of directors and our committee members. Our board members help keep our organization moving forward and growing, and without their support, I don't know what I would do. Our committee members also help to ensure that our programs and other kind of public-facing efforts run smoothly and go well. We wouldn't have our conference without our conference committee. Our communications are becoming more streamlined because of our external affairs committee. It's all of these individuals who help make our organization move forward. We also have so much gratitude for our history and optimism for our future. I know there's a few past EDs on this call, so I'm eternally grateful for your leadership and getting our organization this far. UC exists because of your hard work and efforts, and I am really glad to be a part of that story. We also have a lot of optimism for our future. Doing our youth award program over the past 2 years has really been illuminating to the work that the youth in our community are doing. And we are optimistic not only for our youth, but for where our organization is heading in the future. And with all of that being said, all of that in mind, the thing that I am really excited to announce today, and some of you may have heard this from me personally, is our big plan for 2020 is to reinvigorate the Utah Environmental Literacy Plan planning process. The efforts for a Utah Environmental Literacy Plan would be to create a guiding framework for environmental education in the state of Utah. So long-term collaborative effort. And while this process was started a number of years ago, we're really happy to invigorate that process. Many of you who've been in the state for a while know that our political climate has changed a lot in the past couple of years. And with our strong relationship with the Governor's Office of Outdoor Recreation and things like the Utah Every Kid Outdoors initiative getting passed and our new state science standards, it really is time for us to revisit this and see what we can do. And again, like all of the work we do, this will be a collaborative effort. And I'm really excited to start conversations with each and every one of you about how we do this together going forward. I also have to express some deep thanks. This process would not happen were it not for funding from the Pisces Foundation and funding from the North American Association for Environmental Education. We have been part of the EE360 leadership cohort, and this funding has really helped us to get things in line for our organization. We've been able to do a lot of strategic planning and capacity building, and despite how things are going right now in the world, we are really excited to move forward on this. Our planning efforts may be a little bit different than we imagined, but it brings me a lot of joy and excitement to know that we're going to be working on something high level and that we get to work on it with all of you. So, with that good news in mind, I am going to return to that question, that trivia question that a lot of you answered really well, because many of us are small organizations, and while we're able to move forward on projects like these, there are a lot of organizations that need your support, and hey, we would actually really like it too. So here's how you can support UC and other organizations that provide quality EE programs and resources. And some of you all mentioned these already. Attending virtual programs. I know we would all love to do what Kylie is doing right now. She's actually one of our, she's our 2019 Verne Fridley Informal Environmental Educator of the Year. I know all of you wish you could be doing this. You could be working with kids and youth and individuals in our community and sharing with them the power of environmental education. but we're adapting our programs. Many of our organizations, us included, you know, those impact numbers make a big difference. So attend a virtual program if you get the chance. I'm happy to share that listing of opportunities with all of you, but attending a virtual program really helps all of our organizations. And of course, you all mentioned social media support. This goes a really long way with sharing our message. And it's, again, goes back to that power of our network. If we can collectively share our messages, like our social media, that gets our message far and wide. So even just the simple act of liking something on social media or sharing it goes a long way to getting an organization's mission and message out there. Again, and ask about volunteer opportunities with organizations. I know we are always happy to take volunteers to serve on our committees, and some of our other organizations may need help as they're adapting digital resources. So if there's an organization that you are a big fan of, reach out to them and see if they could use your support right now. And of course, if you are able, please consider making a financial contribution to support environmental education. Of course, I would love it if you supported USEE, but I know that our funds may be more limited right now, and there are a number of really deserving environmental organizations in our state. So please consider making a contribution, not just to support USEE, but to support environmental education. And what we're asking for today is, if you're able to, you can do a one-time contribution or a recurring contribution. Michelle in the chat, one of our board members, is sharing some of our social media handles. And she'll also share the link for donations. So you can do a one-time contribution or a recurring contribution. And you know, today we're really asking for $5 to $20 to help to support USEE. I will be really honest with all of you, is that, you know, one of the big questions, while things are great, one of the big question marks for us is our conference. Knowing that some of our members and partners may have more, maybe more limited in terms of sending their staff. Funding like this will help us to support our conference and our environmental education community. And Greg Lebecki asked if I would accept 100, and I certainly would. There's no pressure. Give what you can and are able to, but and I would also say, don't just give to us. Give to other small organizations who are doing their best, because again, it's going to take all of us to ensure that that message of the power of environmental education is shared across the state of Utah. And Michelle is going to share those links. And I know some folks have meetings to get to, but I'm going to just quickly thank all of you for supporting environmental education in Utah. It means a lot to me to be able to see your faces and to share the really great stories of the work that is happening across our state. I know I am typically the face and the voice for USEE, but really the good work of EE is what all of you are doing. I know we're ending a little bit early, and one of the reasons why I'm doing that is one of the best parts of spring breakfast is getting able to chat with people. So if you have to go, this is the end of the presentation, but if you want to stay and hang out and chat, I'm going to shut down this presentation, turn it on gallery view, and we can mingle a little bit. Again, those links are in the chat. I'll send a recording of this to all of you, again, with the NAAWE webinar, some of these links and other resources. And deep gratitude to all of you for joining us today for our virtual spring breakfast. Thank you all so very much.
Alex.
Yes.
Jack here.
Hey, Jack, how's it going?
Very well, thank you. Beautiful spring morning. I was just curious in regards to, I know you had the